it's important to establish, and I try to establish this element every time I engage in conversations about radical Islam. You got billions of Muslims, and the vast majority are lovely people. In fact, I believe you yourself, I have Muslim friends. Everybody tells me I have incredible Muslim friends that comes on and talks to me about radical Islam. Every single person. It could be Gad Saad. It could be Brigitte Gabriel. It could be Dr. Nazarian. Every single person who has escaped the Middle East and ran from radical Islam is like, I have incredible Muslim friends. So
we have to iron this out. It's
okay, so explain to me. I appreciate that we're going to get into the history of Muhammad, Islam, the Quran, the jihad verses and all of that. But why then are, like, I don't know, 1.8 billion Muslims awesome, and then a couple 100 million are not? What is the difference? It's the same book, same religion.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we can spend the rest of this talking
no
about
one
this.
can actually answer it for me. I've asked
No,
now
I'll
pretty
answer
much
it for you.
everyone.
I think I
No
can,
one
yeah.
can tell me that. No one. I've asked Muslims. I've asked everyone. I've asked everyone. No one actually has that answer. They're like, well, they just, they're good people. I've heard everything from, well, those Muslims don't read the Quran. I'm like, well, that seems unlikely. Well, those Muslims are just good people, and like they kind of ignore those verses, just like Christians ignore parts of the Old Testament. We all do that. And I'm like, yeah, but all Christians ignore the parts of the Old Testament. So we're still back to the thing.
No. I get it. No. Allow me to elucidate.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me unpack this. So first thing you got to do is differentiate between the religion and the people. And I would argue this is how you have to approach all religions. Okay. There's what a religion teaches.
Okay.
And then there's what the people do. Okay. Islam, and I've noticed you use the term radical Islam. Okay. There is no radical Islam. Islam is Islam. The stuff that we call radical is just part and parcel of Islam, has always been. We call it radical because it just, we've somehow reached this point where we think history has ended and everyone thinks the way we do, and the natural culmination of all civilizations is to become like us. Just provide them with enough material means, and and everyone's going to rise above it. Okay, that's sort of, I think, Western arrogance, but Islam is a coherent body of teachings. It's very clear. It's very black and white. It's not mysterious. I'm talking specifically of Sunni Islam, which accounts for 90% of the Islamic world. Okay? It's a legalistic religion. It's not mystical in any way, shape, or form. According to Islam, every action a human can engage in is categorized as either forbidden, disliked, meaning you shouldn't do it. It's not necessarily you're going to go to hell for it, but neutral. Okay, whatever. Recommended. We'd like you to do it, but you don't have to do it. And obligatory, all right? Every single action in this life. It's a very totalitarian system. That's what Sharia is. And if I forget, we really need to talk about Sharia because it's in the news, and there's some input I'd like to say about that. But now, if you look at the religion, some of the stuff that we like to call radical or try to present as aberrant amongst Muslims is actually 100% mainstream, all right?
This can't be possible.
No, it is possible, but we'll get into the moderates.
It's like I go to Dubai and they can go out with my wife.
We'll address
But then
that.
you go to Iran and someone's hair showing and they get the crap beat out of them. I cannot reconcile these two Muslim worlds.
Patience.
Okay, boss. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
because
all right, let me just really
because
put
this
the questions
is
aside
because
for now.
this is a thorny issue. Okay, so the religion, Sunni mainstream Islam. Okay, for example, it allows polygamy. That's not open to debate.
Okay.
The Quran talks about how you can, punish your wife by beating her.
Yes.
Okay, number 2. Concubinage, right? Sex slaves. This is in the Quran.
Yeah.
And it's important. Okay, real quick segue, because you mentioned, the Bible, the Old Testament.
That's the comeback.
And they do that, and Christians have risen above it. Okay, here's the difference. It's a very interesting difference. And I wrote about this like 20 years ago. If you look at the old, let's stick with the Old Testament because that's what they talk about.
Yeah. Slavery.
Slavery, war, genocide, Joshua, all that sort of thing.
High blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for mortality, and 1 in 2 adults has it. So that means there's a 50-50 chance you are a walking time bomb. And I'm sorry to sound dramatic, but there is good news because you can take control of your blood pressure naturally without relying on big pharma. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices that have been shown to lower blood pressure. It's backed by hundreds of doctors and trusted by thousands of people who've seen measurable results. And here's the best part. It's completely risk-free. Try 120 Life for 2 weeks, and if you don't see a difference in your numbers, you get your money back. You just go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And you use the code Jillian to save 20% and get free shipping. This is serious. For real, guys. Honestly, this is your life we're talking about. And 120 Life can help. All right, everybody, picture this. It's late at night, you're scrolling, and bam, the perfect product hits your feed. You add it to the cart, you shop a bit more, you head to checkout, but the wallet is across the room. And then you spot it. That purple Shop Pay button. No digging for your card, no forgotten passwords. Just one tap and you're done. It's a game changer in the chaos of online shopping. And that's the power of Shopify for millions of businesses worldwide. In fact, Shopify drives 10% of all U.S. commerce, from household names like Alaya Naturals and Kylie Cosmetics to solo businesses just starting out like Ranch Rich Streetwear. So if you have a dream to build an online store, there's no better platform than Shopify, with hundreds of stunning templates that match your brand, AI tools that write killer product descriptions, headlines, and even enhance photos in seconds. Their tools let you market like a pro, create emails and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they're scrolling, and best of all, they handle inventory, payments, analytics, and more in one intuitive dashboard. So basically, Shopify is your expert partner with 24/7 award-winning support. So see less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Jillian. Go to shopify.com/Jillian. That's shopify.com/Jillian. Now, a lot of skincare looks good on paper, but it doesn't deliver. And somehow we're told we need 10 different products for real results. Well, that's why OneSkin stood out to me. It's founded by a PhD longevity scientist who worked with a team of PhD longevity scientists, and the brand focuses on real science, not hype. They asked if visible aging is driven by damaged senescent cells, why not just target them directly? And their research led to OS-01, which is their proprietary peptide designed to slow skin aging at the source. So, of course, I was drawn to the science-first approach and the clinical backing, and I've been using the OS-01 face, and I love how lightweight and smooth it feels. My skin looks even more resilient and bright than ever. It's simple, it's effective, it's refreshingly straightforward, and it's born from over a decade of longevity research. OneSkin's OS-01 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. So for a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using the code KEEPINGITREAL at oneskin.co/keepingitreal. So you get 15% off oneskin.co with the code KEEPINGITREAL. And after you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. So please do me a solid and support the show and let them know that I sent you.
As it's presented. If you look at the actual text, the way it's written, okay, so God commands Joshua and, the Israelites or the Hebrews to go to war, and he mentions the names of the people, the Jebusites, the Hebusites, the Canaanites, etc., etc. And the language is very temporal. It's finite. It's not open-ended. It's almost in the past tense. They fought them and that was it. Now, if you go to the Qur'an, okay, and guess what? Even though their enemies were actually identifiable personages throughout history, the Persians, the Zoroastrians, the Christian Byzantines, and so forth, it doesn't use that word. It uses generally the word the kafir, which can be translated as infidel, or mushrik, okay? Like there's a lot of words. And the language is, when you read the Quran, it's in the present tense, okay? So fight the people, fight the kafir, fight the people of the book, Christians and Jews, fight. It's a constant open-ended commandment. Whereas the Old Testament, it's recording a historical account. God said to them, fight that group of people in that group, that area at that point of time. So it never got codified into some sort of a vision for Jews or Christians that you have to be at war with everyone. The Quran is very different. The language is very transcendent and above and beyond the finite moment. And so it got codified, that's what Sharia law is, as a worldview. So the most standard thing in Islamic teaching is you have two worlds. You have, in Arabic, it's called Dar al-Islam, which can be translated as the land or abode of Islam. Okay. This is wherever Sharia controls, right? And then you have the rest of the world is Dar al-Harb. Harb means war. The land where we wage war until we bring them into our land, okay?
Of Islam.
Yeah, and historically, people don't understand this, that they, at least for the Muslim side, they were at such odds and at war with the rest of the world that if you were a European, okay, and for whatever reason there was a delegation being sent to talk to a sultan, he had to get an actual permit before he entered the Islamic world, because if he didn't, he would get killed and enslaved instantly, because you are the de facto enemy. That's how it was historically. We haven't even gotten into the jihad and what it did to the Western world, okay? But, okay, I digress. So Islam, when you hear all this stuff about, oh, this is radical, this is not, jihad is not radical. Jihad, and we'll get into the history, has been integral to Islam. Always has been.
Since inception.
Okay? And, the attacks on free speech and religious freedom. So, for example, attacks on the blasphemer, someone who speaks against Muhammad, and that which goes on all the time today. Right. Okay, that is completely part of Islam. Always has been. Attacking and possibly even killing the apostate who wants to leave Islam. Muhammad himself is on record saying, whoever leaves his religion, kill him. Okay, so that's the religion. Now, does that mean, what is it, almost 2 billion Muslims now? They all follow it? And this is where the analogy that you mentioned, I agree with, which is, yes, look at Christianity and Judaism, Buddhism, and Hinduism, of course, don't have these sort of draconian worldviews. But it is true that if I look at Christians and any other group, well, a lot of them don't follow any of their religion. So to me, what I'm trying to say is moderate Muslims, and I don't care for that word, and I don't care for the word radical, because radical Muslims are not radical. What they are is observant, pious Muslims, and what we call moderate are lackadaisical Muslims, easygoing, secular, cultural Muslims, where, we do the Ramadan thing, we have a feast, we go to the mosque once in a while, that sort of thing. Some don't even do any of that. So, but in no way, shape, or form do these moderate Muslims, as we call them, who do exist, they are not representative of Islam, okay? And that's the whole point. Same thing you can say about, like I said, Christians and Jews. And I mean, look, in Judaism, you have the Orthodox Jews, you have the secular or, Reformed, and obviously one will say one's not doing it the right way, for example, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So the text, the teaching is what it is. It is by any measure what we would call radical and disturbing and draconian. The punishments and the amputations and the whipping, that's all part of Islam. Why? And if you want, we can get into it, but because it's part of what's called Sharia law. And Sharia law is based on the literal words of the Qur'an, which are believed to be from Allah, and Muhammad's words and deeds, which are many. And in the Qur'an says you have a perfect example in Muhammad, and you have to follow him. Okay? And just to show you what I'm talking about, in the Qur'an, for example, there's this doctrine, which to me, so you were asking me earlier, what's the most problematic thing? One was, of course, the shock at, this disconnect between what Muslims were really up to with the Al-Qaeda and what Westerners, how, not only were they clueless, but they were actually disseminating their lies. But the other one was this doctrine that even until now, no one really wants to talk about. People will talk about jihad. To me, the most problematic doctrine, in Arabic, it's called al-wala wal-bara. And these two words can be translated in various ways. They can be called loyalty and enmity. Some Muslims translate them as love and hate, which is actually pretty good.
Okay.
And with this doctrine, which is in the Quran, teaches Muslims must only be loyal to fellow Muslims, the ummah.
Yes. Okay,
they are their only friends. And the non-Muslims, you have to hate them. Okay, and it even says, even if they're your fathers and your brothers and your wives. I translated a video of a popular Egyptian cleric, it's on my YouTube channel, who says,
I've seen this.
No, you've seen it.
I've seen it on your channel, but please tell the audience.
Yeah, where he basically says, and this is because of the teaching of the hatred for non-Muslims, Islam allows Muslim men to marry Christian women and Jews because they're the people of the book. But it's also interesting because, of course, a Christian man can't marry a Muslim woman. Why? Because, of course, they see it from a purely patriarchal worldview, which is, okay, as long as the woman is the infidel, who cares? She's subjugated. Anyway, that's why you can't have a male Christian or Jew married to a Muslim, because you can't have a Muslim being subjugated, right? But so he says, even though that's a legit, you have to hate her in your heart and show her you hate her. And he says you can enjoy her sexually, you can enjoy her whatever way, but make sure she knows you hate her.
All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking here.